What's going on, everybody? I hope you guys are all having a wonderful evening. I just have kind of been enjoying what's kind of going on. Phase 6 is still my baby. If you follow my Twitter, you can kind of been seeing margin calls have been happening. Things are looking good. I know some people that don't watch our channel or are not really watching mine or Bigum's info on this are probably expecting something immediate. I think that most of us that were getting this information, we realized that it was going to take a little bit of time. But yeah, I was just kind of stepping back and kind of just looking at what's happening from a bigger perspective outside of just AMC. That being said, I wanted to just go over a few things. We have, a major crisis happening with FTX and that blowing up, and truth be told, there is a lot of issues that are going on with that right now. A lot of people are getting screwed, and as far as like what's happening to, Sam, who knows? It's a complete mess. But I wanted to kind of address some of the theories, and I could be wrong. Again, I'm just going to give my theory, and I could be incorrect on, I guess, what I'm saying here, but I just believe that we need to do a little bit more research and kind of get some facts. But anyways, I'm going to get into it. So we're talking about AMC and that tokenized security. As far as like AMC and GameStop and meme stocks, those tokenized securities for FTX, nothing new. As early as 2020, they had versions for Twitter, Facebook, Facebook/Meta, Tesla, everything. Nothing new. And so a lot of people are like, well, man, these popped out of nowhere. They popped up on, January during our run up in 2021. And what's going on? We think that these are being used as locates for, people that are shorting the stock, et cetera, et cetera. So I just wanted to kind of give my 2 cents. So with what you guys have up on the screen, which you guys have probably already read by now because it's been sneak up on the screen, is the contract between, CME, FTX, Binance, pretty much the majority of the people that were utilizing CME as a custodian for these quote unquote, tokens, these tokenized stocks. Which, by the way, I'm going to mention that these were discontinued pretty early from CME also, probably because it was kind of a shitty product and nobody was using it. I mean, the volume kind of shows that. The volume, if you look at any of these tokenized securities and you actually really look at the volume, nobody's were participating in them. Like in the most simple way, I think that this is like a product that was created to basically just capitalize on retail seeing like, oh my lord, there's a squeeze going on, we live in this country, we can't get in, we can't buy AMC. Well, this is a way to get exposure during the run up, and the dates that it was released pretty much line right up with that theory, at least for me. But anyways, so you have FTX, which is selling a securitized token. You have CME, which is the custodian, right? They're the wallet of the quote unquote underlining asset, right? But I just kind of wanted to show you guys something about CME's contracts and their documentation that kind of, I feel like for me, made this much more simple. Tokenized stocks mirror the economic value of the underlining, and I highlighted this in red. However, tokenized stocks do not pass along any shareholder or ownership rights. Okay? Tokenized stocks or fractional coins do not constitute any claim for delivery in any kind. Okay? That last part, do not constitute any claim for delivery in any kind. All right? So anybody that is participating, involved, has any of these tokens, they have zero, zilch, any claim to any delivery at all. All right. So when you look at Reg Show and you look at the regulations when it comes to pushing out a locate, what you need to do, like if you need to find a locate for a share that you shorted. Lord, hopefully that didn't just get me banned that little bit. I'm going to have to pause the music. Anyways, let's just assume, where the hell was I now? Okay. So we're back here. So you have that totally distracted me. Sorry, we're coming back again. So I'm just gonna highlight the last part. Does not constitute any claim for delivery of any kind. So when you think about Reg Show and the requirements that they need to provide information where they're going to have a borrow, that they are going to have a borrow, whether it's a hedge fund that's going and shorting it and needs to find a borrow or a locate for a borrow, or if it's corrupt market makers, okay, because that's the other theory that people, it's the market makers, it's the market makers. So let's just say, assume that it is a market maker, okay? And you have these guys coming and they need to find a locate. They do not own or are attached to any delivery of this kind. And so this is the truth. If you want to come and look at some of the Reg Show stuff, because a lot of people have been coming back and forth, and again, I could be wrong. These are just my theories. But I went to specifically the borrow section of all of this, and I kind of highlighted some parts that were kind of important. So we'll just kind of get into this. Regulations show, this is where we're at here. Regulations show implements a requirement that no broker-dealer may accept a short sell order from any person or effect a short sell order for its own account unless the broker-dealer has borrowed or entered into an arrangement to borrow the security, or B, as reasonable grounds to believe that the security can be borrowed such that it can be delivered when due in order to settle the share. So that's where a lot of people are falling back and coming back at me with my theories. They're saying, hey, well, reasonable grounds to believe. Okay. Well, they can say they can locate it because they think that it's there, right? It's supposed to be backed one by one. But again, going back to CME's contract, no. If it clearly states you are not, they underline, or they mimic the value of the underlying stock, okay? Do not pass along any shareholder or ownership rights, not any of it, okay? No shareholder ownership or rights. Tokenized stocks or fractional coins do not constitute any claim for any delivery, okay? None. So that's important to realize, right? So when we're looking at all of these filings and we're looking at kind of what's going on here, there's no reasonable grounds. They say has reasonable grounds to believe the security can be borrowed. Well, no, you don't have any rights to that security at all, right? So how could you be assumed to be able to go and borrow it if you have no rights to it? The second thing was, again, though, this is what people are saying. The locate requirement does not apply to short sales executed by market makers, right? So people are saying the whole theory of like, well, market makers are shorting it, or, you know, they're short exempt and they're using that as a locates. No, again, under Reg Show, if it's bona fide market making, it doesn't apply. Market makers don't have to locate the shares. It's not even there. So when you're saying that, oh, well, market makers are doing it because they're shorting the stock, no, Reg Show already shows that if you're bona fide market making, you don't have to locate the shares. And listen to this. The commission has expressly declined to include any exception to the locate requirement for exchange traded funds, ETFs, because those are just products that are representing value of the underlining, right? They say that such funds are they're not sure that they're able to redeem these shares, which is why you can't use them as a locate, right? And again, so if FTX is these people that are saying they're using, CME as a custodian, saying that you don't have any rights, and they're so strict that even the major ETFs can't use ETFs as a locate. What makes you think they can use some weird off-brand, shitty tokenized security if you can't even use ETFs that are actually listed on the the stock exchange? Again, this is just my theory. And it says the commission has provided guidance as to what constitutes reasonable grounds on which to believe that a security can be borrowed. Because again, we're going back to that word reasonable grounds. In this regard, the commission has noticed that reasonableness for purposes of regulation show must be determined on the basis of facts and circumstances of the particular situation giving rise to the transaction. For example, the commission has noticed that a broker-dealer may rely on the statement of a lender as to the availability of the securities, or to assurances from the customer that the customer has or will obtain the borrowed security from another identified source in sufficient time to settle the trade, right? Well, here's the thing. Rely on a statement of a lender as to the availability of the shares. So if you were somebody that went and bought a token, a security, an AMC securitized token, right? The statement of availability, again, back to the CME contract, is not there. They are telling you it is not available. It does not constitute any claim for delivery. Okay? So that's telling you, to me, and this is like so simple to me, I can't believe people are tripping up over this. It does not constitute any delivery. Right? And then it says right here, again, at the bottom, I highlighted in this red because it was interesting. However, the commission cautions that if a broker-dealer has reason to know that a customer's similar prior assurances resulted in failures to deliver, then assurances from such customer would not provide reasonable grounds required by regulations show. Meaning that if customers were using some source, right, as a locate, and that source has proved previously in the past that they were not a good source of a locate, you cannot use them, okay? That's not reasonable grounds. And again, so if they're so strict on even saying something like that, if somebody in the past failed, you can't use them, that leads me to believe that when a contract is telling you that you have no rights to the shares, that the regulatory bodies that be are not going to accept this as any sort of legitimate locate. Again, though, just my 2 cents, and I just wanted to share my thoughts. It was a Saturday night. It's late. I'm going to post this at the worst time for YouTube, probably get no exposure, but it's probably a good thing. People are not going to like what I have to say. Anyways, I do believe that margin calls are happening currently, going to continue happening. Fundamentals are getting better. I am still fully vested in AMC. I've not pulled out a single share of my original ownership. Just want us to focus on things that actually matter and not some fucking scam company that has made all of their money robbing retail, right? In a way that's so much more obvious than this. Like they just straight up robbed us. Anyways, love you long time. Peace.